HandCash, I mean, it's our company, it's about building this streaming money economy as opposed to the traditional payments and what the concept of sending money means. Sending money is like something boring, institutional, with so many participants, with so much high fees, that is locking so many new business opportunities, right? Streaming money means payments that are instant, worldwide, they have no fees, and you can add up to 1,000 participants in one single transaction. So, what do we need to build an economy? Obviously, we need people, we need users, and of course, we need businesses. We need applications, we need games, or any other kind of platform that is willing to use this new kind of money to create new business opportunities. So this is the vision for what HandCash is.
Thank you, Rafa. So I will come to you, Mohit. Since NU10 is born in a Web3 era, right? What do you see driving the whole Web3 gaming force, and how it is entirely different from Web2 to Web3 kind of things?
If you see, I think gaming is today what a $200 billion industry, right? And it is also growing at a very fast clip. And gaming is one industry which is, I think, completely dependent on users and gamers to fuel the game, right? And of course, in a Web2 game scenario, like everywhere else, the platform holds an undue amount of power. Undue amount of power as, if you are earning anything in a game, you can't really take it out of the game. The take rates are very high by the platform. You also see that, every game, like everywhere else, it's like a pyramid. And that pyramid is, you can say it's very, very flat. There's a top end which really, really earns and is, perhaps valued. And that happens for any content creator platform, right? Even YouTube, the top players are paid a lot, the others are not. Same for gaming. Any gaming platform is defined by the gamers. And a typical Web2 game, there's a lot of concentration of gaming power on the top few gamers. Now, the concept of, of course, Web3 that you see is you have to, one, it becomes transparent, right? So what is the platform really charging? Secondly, it is also powering where anyone else, knows the take rates, they can essentially participate. They also have an equal opportunity to either earn with a play to earn and contribute. So, and they are the real ones which are driving value of a game. A game is, there's no point in a multiplayer game if there are not enough number of players, right? So they have to derive enough value out of it to be able to hook on to that game. And that's what we are seeing, that Web3, I think it finds the first and the best use case in gaming, which is both content driven, community driven, and a platform which can really make it more and more efficient.
Okay, so on that note, I will just continue with you only, Mohit. Since you are building a crypto payment rail, the whole payment stack for the gaming industry, few years back, no one was talking about the payment product related to gaming industry or something. Now it's picking up the whole pace. So what's your take on that?
See, of course, if there's a $200 billion which the gaming industry is making, that much amount of money is flowing, right? And you need someone to enable that. So where we are highly focused is to not just have crypto native people essentially participate in gaming and Web3 games, but also the larger mass still lies on the Web2 games, right? People who are playing either casual games, who are spending that time, and they are the ones that forms the really big base of a game. So our payment product that we are building is really put on 3 blocks. One is the on-ramp, off-ramp. So where someone who really doesn't know Web3, why do they need to know Web3 to play a game and earn, right? So you have to have a very strong on-ramp, off-ramp if you really want to get lots of users in it. Of course, the second part is having a payment infrastructure on the tokens, right? Because that is what you use to transact. And the third big thing is wallets, of course, because that's where you hold all what you earn or what you spend. So we are building this payment stack, and it is more and more focused on getting the casual gamers, everyday gamers to come and be able to participate without them having to know that they're really in a Web3 game. How does it matter? You know, I want 10 tokens, I am really earning $1, I want to take that $1 out. So, so that is what we are trying to build. So that's what our payment product does for gaming.
Excellent. On that note, I will just continue with Rafa. What I think in the gaming currently, million transactions happening on a daily basis. What do you think the role of micro payments or nano payments is going to play in the whole gaming sector, and it's going to help the adoption in a larger scale? Yes.
Right, so having a technology that is like actual cash on the internet, it's a completely game changer for game development, because it's giving them more possibilities to create new business models, which means new ways of monetizing, and also creating new experiences for people. So the way normally monetizing games work is your money is going from your pocket to the developer. There's no other ways of monetizing. And also, game developers are enforced to charge a minimal amount of, we could say $3, $5. It doesn't make sense charging less than that, because with all the fees and with all the intermediaries, they wouldn't be making any money, right? So if we have a technology where I can pay just 10 cents to buy a game item, or just to play a game, or the money doesn't even have to be going from my pocket to the developer. It can go from one user to another user, and the game developer is just getting a cut from providing the service on the platform. So of course, this is a completely game changer. This is opening up for more business models, and also for the interoperability between games, which is where I think the blockchain is also providing so much, not only with payments, but also with NFTs. If I can have game items that can be transferred to any other games, or if we can create a secondary market for game items, I think we're in our experience for what the game developers, when they try this technology, they know there's no way back. So once you see all of these opportunities, there's no way you can go back to the traditional model.
Okay, excellent. So I will just ask a question to both of you. Most of the traditional gamers, they complain about this Web3, the P2E kind of model, because their complaint is the kind of undue advantage all these players get. They can simply buy a NFT or something, and they can just jump a level with just few tokens. Initially, what was happening, they used to play at certain stage, and then they were jumping to the next level, or the cheat codes and all, they used to Google to just find out the cheat code to go to the next stage. So the traditional gamers are now having that complaint with this P2E kind of model. How do you think it's gonna change, or P2E is the real future of the whole gaming industry?
I think I want to take like responsibility as my company, and is all of these opportunities, new business models, new ways of creating experiences. I think it's basically what I said before, but I think we still have to make it possible. We need to, blockchain, it's amazing, but it's very complex, and it requires a lot of specialization. So we can't expect every game studio to be experts in blockchain and experts in game development and experts in so many things. So I think we are a couple
Recording
of
in
steps
progress.
away. That means we need to bring tools, we need to bring abstraction, so we make it easy for them, and also we make it also easy for users. Because right now for users, it also means dealing with private keys and understanding what NFTs are and starting all of this. So the way that I envision this being possible is having abstraction, having tools that everyone can really use without having to understand what an NFT is, or a private key, or all of this, or doing a KYC and all of these processes. Once we get there, we can unlock the potential of decentralization, new markets, stream payments. So, yeah.
Excellent. Mohit, the same question for you.
Okay, so I think play to earn always existed. Earlier people were selling their user IDs on the black market, eBay and things like those, right? So a middle-aged guy like me who doesn't have really time to play, I want to jump up 5 levels, I go and buy something. A user ID who has already jumped up 5 levels. So that was a play to earn under the table, right? What gamers are perhaps, today complaining against is that this play to earn is now in a way on the table. It is open, so you earn, you can then trade, and that's how it is. So it is, living to the standards of what a decentralized, blockchain-driven work has to do, which is basically open it up and make it more transparent for people to, be able to trade, be able to lend, be able to stake, and do what they want to do with the earnings that they have had. So I think play to earn is there to both stay, as well as it is the right way forward. What has to happen perhaps, I think, and that's what plagues the gaming world, is that the Web3 games are being developed by developers and not by gamers, right? So the games have to be engaging itself in the very first place. And maybe that is what people's complaint is. You really don't want to just go and sit on a platform and click something and then wait for it to get minted over 5 days and do 5 things. You want something, where a casual gamer, right, can go and be engaged in the game rather than just looking at, did I earn one NFT and whether that one NFT is worth $600,000 that someone else sold or is it worth 6 pence, right? That's not, so I think that concept is not coming, right? That's one. And I am, totally with, Rafa here, right? That because once, you put game at the center stage, and then this is more of an enabling infrastructure for people, right? And I think that's the way forward. But play to earn is not going away. It is just maybe legalizing or putting something transparently what always existed.
Excellent. So I have a different question for you, Rafa. The recent Axie Infinity hack, that more than $600 million, the bridge got hacked, and people started questioning the security in the whole Web3 space. And nowadays, multisig is a feature that they say, okay, my wallet is a multisig feature. But if I remember correctly, in 1990s, the first paper on TSS was written, that is threshold signature schema. And the feature, I think your HandCash is using that, the keyless wallet feature. So what do you think, the future is a multisig kind of a wallet, or the future is a keyless wallet feature? Again, I'm asking this question to you. The Harmony Bridge hack that happened a few weeks back, where $200 million was taken away. And the funny part was that they were using the multisig wallet, but two of their keys were lying on the AWS server, and they were not encrypted at all. So the hacker simply sniffed it, and he took that key away, and $200 million was gone. So what do you think? The future is a multi-sig kind of a wallet or TSS-based keyless wallet? Yep.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question, and also, we could talk about this for hours probably.
If time could have permitted us.
Yeah, how much time do? Yeah, but the thing is, this threshold signatures invention was there for a few years. And it's really great. It can enhance security, but also you have to put all the pieces together to give it a real use case, a real world case. So for us, this is an enabler for adoption, in the sense that I think we're here in the room, if we know a bit about crypto, we know anyone who has lost the private keys or who has lost money because they didn't remember the 12 or 24 words or whatever like this. So for us, we've been for 4 years providing services and having a wallet up there, and it's really terrible where every day, almost every day, you have someone contacting support because they lost access to the keys and they want to recover the money. They don't even understand why they can't access to their money. And this is terrible. This is something we spend years thinking about how can we solve this. Also in a way that our service doesn't become custodial, because that's a really, really big expense, right? So how can we help people to recover access to their money so they can just lose the 12 words, but at the same time, our company is non-custodial, so we don't have to invest that much in SecOps, and we make sure the funds are secure, right? So obviously for a business like us, using threshold signatures is the only way to go. We think it makes sense for almost any company. You just need to adapt. This is something very flexible. But what is clear to me is how, not only how it improves security, is what kind of things can you do when you can sign transactions, you can mint NFTs on the cloud instead of being on the user device, right? And also, another thing is people have no idea about security. So giving them the private keys, based on the years of all the bad things that I've seen, this is terrible. You're not empowering people. You're exposing them. Someone can access to your phone, someone can access to your private keys, someone can force you, someone can attack you because you have the keys there. You're not an expert in security, and this is why people lose the access to the money, because they don't have how to handle security. So if we want this to go mainstream, that's not the way to go.
So I will just ask you, Mohit, an interesting question. Most of the people nowadays talk about metaverse. And although I believe that true metaverse has not arrived yet, people are just dealing in virtual reality, VR, and they're calling it a metaverse kind of thing. And recently your Meta, Facebook, so-called Facebook, their quarter results had come, and they posted the loss in their virtual reality labs. So how do you think this whole metaverse is going to play a role in Web3 space? Yes.
Okay, interesting. So I think one metaverse you can use anywhere. You don't need to be in a Web3 to use metaverse. But we are finding a lot of places where the Web3 gamers, founders, they want to use metaverse because they don't have the power of communities that some of these big gamers have built earlier, right? So it's one way to counter the communities that people inherit either from, you're using a Facebook login, you're using Instagram and so on and so forth, and you are tapping into a community. Now, of course, Web3 believes in, far more community which is decentralized, which is basically independent, which is not really dependent upon a centralized platform. And thus, I think metaverse starts playing a very big role to attract those users who hitherto, who really would want to come to Web3, but they want something additional than what they are doing right now. So at least from our experience perspective, we are seeing a lot of use cases where the metaverse is a spice in the sauce, right? And you are trying to really get those users to hooked on and to help build the initial community, drive that community feeling, and give them something more than what a normal social network and a chat-based network, etc., can give them. So yes, there are a lot of cases that we are seeing, and primarily for community-driven. But yet, it is increasingly being adopted in Web3 games that we are working on.
Interesting. I think we have Nitish. Hey, hi Nitish. Yeah. Thank you for making it to the summit. Yes.
Hi everyone.
Since we are in the middle of the panel, so I will just start and might be finishing with you. Nazara does not need a name or something to explain. It has become a household name after all the IPO thing that happened with the Nazara technology. So, since you come from a traditional gaming experience, and if I'm not wrong, the first game you coded maybe at the age of 7 or something. That's how your experience with the gaming comes into the picture. So if you can just tell us about, from the traditional Web 2 perspective, you're a traditional Web 2 gamer kind of thing, how you are thinking this Web 2 to Web 3 transition is happening when it comes to the gaming industry. Yeah. Thank you again.
Oh, sure. Happy to be here. When I started gaming, I think Web 0.1 also didn't exist, right? It's been a long journey. So I think for us, we have today 100 million monthly active users on the Zara network. And therefore, for us to, I think two things. One, we are taking Web3 very seriously, and we do see a lot of value-add disruption happening by Web3 on the gaming industry, especially, and a lot of opportunity that's thrown up for game developers, publishers, and the consumer. So it's a win-win in that sense. And a company like us obviously cannot ignore Web3. Right? We've not been too early into it. A lot of things have already been happening. I've personally been tracking the blockchain crypto space for since 2014. But as a company, we've taken our time. Also, last 2-3 years, there was too much froth in the market. And we were a bit wary, especially like you mentioned, with going public, etc., of taking missteps, amidst all this froth that was there. But I think some of that is clearing up. Real use cases are emerging. And we are surely looking at taking some of our key titles. For example, our cricket title, which is very popular, World Cricket Championship, which has 20 million plus monthly active users. How do we either create Web3 versions of these titles or create a layer of Web3 that can add value to consumers, especially, on our properties, is something we're currently looking at, working on.
Excellent. So, okay, on that front, I will ask another question. Since this quarter, this whole blockchain, if I'm not wrong, they get almost around $6.5 billion in the funding. And a major chunk, I think 57% has gone to the Web3 space. And all the fundings that are happening in the blockchain space, either that's on infrastructure side, or again, that is on the gaming side. So how do you think, again, the question is same. From the traditional gaming background that you come a hardcore Web2 gamer, what do you think is the future of all this? And I was asking the question to Nitish and Rafa here. The traditional gamers, few of them, not a majority of them, they complain about this undue advantage that a P2E model served to them. So yes, what's your take on that, Nitish?
P2E model, the play-to-earn model needs to transition to play-and-earn model, where you are playing. I mean, games have traditionally been played to have the entertainment and to enjoy and for the social experience, etc. Right? I don't think you can turn it on the completely and just make it into a business or into a job. I think if you can coexist, keeping the playing for entertainment and fun and social interaction as a primary objective, but also let people earn as a byproduct, I think that will be very useful for the consumer. And I think that's what will sustain. Because the P2E on a standalone basis, in my view, has a lot of challenges when it comes to tokenomics and the inflation and all of that. And that's not easy to solve. I think play and earn will work much better.
Excellent. So since we just have 5 minutes left, so Rafa, the question is to you. What chose you to build using on BSV, and what factors do you think that BSV is going to play a key role? We know about the scalability factor, that is there, the kind of big blocker that 4 GB block BSV is mining, and again, the goal is to go towards the tera block size. So what choose you to build on BSV? Yes.
Again, with this vision of having instant payments and low fees and all of this, it wouldn't be possible in any other technology or not even in any other blockchain. So for us, it was about having some technology that we can rely on, something that we know it scales. We don't have to worry about it. Also, something very important is we know the rules are not going to change. We know that it's something we've seen with other protocols, and when you think on the internet, you know that the protocol doesn't change. And also, there's one single protocol. There's no 10 internets. There's one single internet. It scales, and the rules don't change. So to us, it was like having the same reference, making sure the fees are low, which is a consequence of having this economy of scale. And for payments, this is just all we wanted. I think it's not that hard. But unfortunately, or luckily for us, this is only possible using BSV.
Great. Mohit, the same question to you on the BSV part, since I'm aware that you are also building on BSV, the whole database management and all. So for this, in gaming, NFT is going to play a very key role. And I always say that to apply a coupon code, if you need to spend money, that does not make sense at all. If you have to apply a coupon code, that's what's happening with the Ethereum and others. To just mint a free NFT, you are going to pay like $5 to $6. Although I don't know when the merge is going to happen, the September 19. I won't comment on that. So what brought you to build on BSV? Yes, Mohit.
I think BSV, for sure, is holding a lot of promise. Again, bigger block size, loads of transactions. There's a talk of 1 million transactions per second or per minute, which is something that is definitely required, I believe, not just for gaming, of course, yes, because it could be used anywhere, right? So let us say you want to tomorrow get onto a subscription model of magazines. Now I don't want to pay for the whole magazine. I only want to pay for the articles that I read. I would want to pay, and that is where you require an infrastructure that can, without overloading with high transaction fees, it can still enable those transactions. Of course, like everything else, I believe it depends upon mass adoption, right? And that is something that is, to be seen. But on a technology front, I think it holds a lot of promise, primarily because of this, because that is what, builds that micro, nano economy, as, Rafa was saying, on the internet, which is so very much required, especially if you move away from today's large centralized network. I pay whatever X amount for Netflix, but I hardly watch and maybe a couple of hours in a month, but I pay for it. I wouldn't want to pay for it if I can really have pay-as-you-go service, which can only charge me for what I see. And those are the cases that is going to, I think, come up a lot. And for that, you require something like BSV. As I said, success of technology does not depend only on the technology, but a lot of other factors. But technology definitely holds a lot of promise here.
Thank you again, Mohit. Thank you, Rafa. I think Nitish is not here, but again, thanks him again also. Yeah, Nitish. Hey, Nitish.
I'm here.
Sorry.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah,
Happy to be here.
thank you, Nitish, for joining us. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.